Today on the CTV News at 5, how Southern Albertans are helping High River students get ready to head back to school. Plus, a class action lawsuit is launched over a massive oil spill in BC's Slocan Valley. And it was known as the trade. 25 years later, hockey fans are still traumatized.
CTV News with Jackie Scantlebury.
Good afternoon. For many parents, August is the time to think of back-to-school shopping. For students, it marks the bittersweet feeling of the ending of summer and hitting the books for another year. But for many flood-ravaged Albertans, just getting back on their feet is a challenge, letting alone getting their kids back to school. But a few businesses in Lethbridge have been helping by relieving the stress of back-to-school shopping. Keaton Gerberbach reports.
I need twins, 14.
It's that time of year again, the time to think of going back to school. Parents are getting their kids supplies, and kids are trying to soak up as much of what's left of summer. But for many flood-stricken Albertans, just having a place to call home is a challenge in itself.
Everybody wants to lend a hand, right? And we know that they probably have so many people just going there and helping out, and we physically can't do that. So we think that if we can send things to help them, help their kids in school, things like that, it would be a lot easier for them to just, get through it.
Donation centers like this have been set up in businesses around the city to encourage people to drop off school supplies for families in need. Store owners believe this is a small way they can give to a community that has been through so much.
Well, anytime you hear of devastation like that, you definitely want to chip in, and that's kind of what the initiative is called. You want to get right up there and help, but sometimes it's better to do something like this.
This type of campaign isn't new for the city. Backpack drives and similar causes have been going strong for years, but this campaign aims to help flood victims directly, to take some of the burden off families who are just trying to get their lives back to normal. Parents are encouraged to pick up a few extra supplies like pencils, paper, and markers and bring them to the different drop-off locations. Once they're all collected, many of them will be given to High River families who are in need of them.
And I think the spirit of everybody going through, like all the communities helping, just how Albertans really come together and help people in a time of need, especially.
Keaton Gerberbach, CTV News, Lethbridge.
The Chip In for High River campaign will continue to accept donations until August the 14th, and then all of the supplies are going to be put together and sent to High River families just in time for the new school year. Well, when a High River young woman put out a plea for grad dresses for students who had lost everything in the June flood, she could not believe the response she got. Becca Kehoe knows many of this year's grad class because they were in grade 10 when she graduated 2 years ago. She also knows the struggles those students are facing from the flood because her home was full of water. A few weeks ago, she used Facebook to send a message to get 83 grad dresses, but was overwhelmed with support from all over the country. Today, she has well over 2,500 dresses, along with shoes and accessories. Kehoe says donations came in from all over the country by people wanting to help. South Centre Mall got on board by donating retail space in its Calgary Mall and offering its designer team to spruce it up.
All the girls will have all their hair and makeup done for free. We have Sarah doing all the styling. We have photographers offering their services. So all the girls should have hundreds of photos of themselves, all professionally done, beautiful portraits. So yeah, it's pretty crazy.
The retail space is open today through Sunday, but it's only open to High River graduates. Now, some of those dresses came from Lethbridge. After hearing about the need for dresses, the sisters at Delta Eta Ido, a sorority in Lethbridge, stepped into action. They were able to gather over 200 grad dresses from across southern Alberta. The dresses that are left over will be donated to a number of charities, including the Cinderella Project and Princess's Closet. Well, southern Alberta continues to clean up from flooding in June. It's a similar situation south of the border now. Relentless rain from a number of summer storms has produced destructive flash flooding. In Tennessee, water rose so fast residents were forced onto roofs. This 5-week-old was rescued from her family's attic by first responders. From Colorado to Maine, 15 states are all under flood watches and advisories. Okay, we've been hoping it's going to get better, Dory, but things are changing very quickly. the days to come, we're crossing our fingers.
Yeah, we are. Don't pack away the umbrella, kind of have it close by, maybe, in your car when you're driving around. But yeah, just in the overnight hours last night, the wind direction up top shifted. And again, I put a sort of an extended explanation on our CTV Facebook page this morning. But the dynamics of the systems are a lot different than they were at this time yesterday. So we've got an area of high pressure, albeit slightly a weak one, but it is offering us a much better weekend and a better chance of sunshine than we had 24 hours ago. So I'll tell you what I know in a couple of minutes.
Thank you, Dory. CTV has won a legal battle to broadcast the confession of a Medicine Hat day home operator responsible for the death of a toddler in her care. Court of Queen's Bench Justice Glenn Pullman overturned a provincial court ruling that prevented CTV from airing Aaron Jackman's interview with police in 2010. In his decision, Pullman reaffirmed media outlets do not have to provide reasons why courts should release exhibits. Now, Medicine Hat Provincial Court Judge Dietrich Brand had denied Calgary's or CTV's request to broadcast video, saying the court has discretion to regulate the use of exhibits. He also argued the administration of justice could be adversely affected, even though Jackman had already pleaded guilty and been sentenced to 3.5 years in prison. 19-month-old Mercedes Pepper died from blunt force trauma to her head. Jackman initially said that Mercedes fell in her backyard playground, but eventually admitted to pushing the little girl into a door frame while trying to force her into a timeout. Well, some people living in BC's Slocan Valley are launching a class action lawsuit after a massive jet fuel spill. Today marks 2 weeks since a tanker flipped into Lemon Creek, spilling more than 35,000 liters of fuel. Many people still can't drink their water. The truck driver blew through several road closed signs before the spill. The suit alleges negligence. It names the province of British Columbia and the company responsible for the truck.
I can let everyone know that the response was not only well organized and efficient, but it was delivered on time, and the results have been meeting expectations, if not beating expectations.
They picked the wrong crew. We love this place. We're here because we wanted to be in the purest place on the planet, and then we now call it Slocan Valley, formerly known as Paradise. Well, maybe it's Slocan Valley, soon to be known again as Paradise. But we've got to get on it. We've got to help. It's not a matter of taking the long weekend off because the river didn't take the weekend off. It's not a matter of phoning for help and finding out there's nobody there till the weekend's over with and it's a long weekend. There's too much PR and not enough actual doing.
Meanwhile, the death of a 52-year-old man at the Raymond's Prairie Ridge Support Living Facility has been determined to have been natural. In November of 2010, Douglas Clegg was found on the sidewalk outside the building. An autopsy originally showed the cause of death was undetermined, but during a fatality inquiry, the medical examiner told court Clegg died of cardiac arrhythmia. The inquiry also heard the 52-year-old liked to go for daily walks around the facility and had complained of chest pains. The complaints were always dealt with and tests showed no cause for concern. The fatality report determined the death was natural and contained no recommendations to prevent similar deaths in the future. Kimberley RCMP are looking into an incident of credit card fraud that happened there late last month. Someone used a Kimberley resident's credit card in order to purchase items by mail order. Now, the items that were bought were purchased by using someone's insecure wireless internet connections to get banking and credit card information. Residents are being reminded to keep their wireless internet secure and to check their credit card statements to make sure that the cardholder has authorized all of the charges. There is some good news on the local job front. The Lethbridge Medicine Hat jobless rate dropped to 5.1% in July. That's down from 6% in June. The region has had the highest unemployment rate in Alberta over the past few months. The province was at 4.8% in July. The national jobless rate, 7.2%. Well, there's soon going to be another candidate running for Lethbridge City Council. Harold Percival is the president of the Lethbridge Twinning Society and a retired public servant with the federal government. He's expected to make an official announcement on Wednesday. So far, only one other person has announced that they plan to run for council. There are 3 candidates vying for the mayor's chair. The town of Colehurst is celebrating its 100th birthday, and it's a celebration you're all invited to this weekend. The Centennial Wall was just recently erected to honor the town, its coal mining past, and its future. A dedication ceremony is planned for this evening. Colehurst is already getting its streets and neighborhoods ready for a parade Saturday morning, where about 50 floats will ride down its main street. Also planned for Saturday, a beer garden, show and shine, pig roast, a dance, and live entertainment. Organizers say it's really a celebration of the town's coal mining history.
There's a tremendous amount of excitement in the town. People are showing their excitement by cutting the grass, cleaning their yards, and the streets are swept and taken care of. We have flags along Main Street, and people are walking around the town and talking about our centennial, and they are very, very excited.
Speaking of celebrations, Whoop Up Days is actually just around the corner. If you're planning on being a part of the Whoop Up Days parade, you better get your registration form in because the deadline for floats is Monday. This was the scene of last year's Whoop Up Days parade, but according to Exhibition Park, registration is a bit down this year. They're looking for several groups, organizations, and individuals to register and enter a float. The parade starts 10 a.m. Tuesday, August the 20th. All floats will be presented for judging at Park Place Mall that same morning, 6 a.m.
There's a lot of people coming back from vacation, middle of August, and maybe they've forgotten about it. So I'm pretty sure we'll be quite lenient on it, but we'd like to get as many in by Monday the 12th as possible. Right now we're sitting at around 70, 75 entries. So usually we're around 100 or 110. So, instead of the parade being 2 hours, it'll be down to maybe an hour and a half or an hour and a quarter or something.
The parade signals the start of Whoop Up Days. Gates open for the rodeo and carnival at Exhibition Park, 1 p.m. that day. An unbelievable lightning strike was captured on video in Utah. Have a look. Now, it was all captured on video while the family was on their way to church. All the electrical gauges you may not have been able to see shut off in the car. 3 tires were blown out, leaving them stranded until someone called for help. The Morlock family say they can still feel the excitement, but don't necessarily want to experience it again. Here's a look at how the markets wrapped up the week.